So what if you're given vertex as 1, 2 and y-intercept as -3? Find the function f of x, which is quadratic. So the way you're going to approach these questions where you're given the information about the quadratic function and you have to find the formula for it, you have to know various types of quadratic equation formats, because depending on which format you use, it'll be easier to calculate. So first, because when the vertex is given, you really need to use the vertex formula, which is, the vertex form is a times x minus h squared plus k. Yeah. But depending on the information that you're given, sometimes you might want to use y equals to ax squared plus bx plus c. And this is what? This is the standard form. And there's still another format that I haven't shown you before, but this is very handy. It's like m times x minus a, x minus b. So this last one, let me explain a little bit. If you plug in a into this function, what would you get? This thing. If you plug in a, you get, plug in a into x. What
0.
0, because a minus a is 0. 0 times anything is 0, right? So a is like the root of this polynomial, or a is something that makes y equal to 0. That means it's on the x-axis. So a comma 0 is the x-intercept of this quadratic function. And same goes for b. So this, I don't think it has a name, but when you're given the x-intercepts, then this format is a pretty good one to use. If you're given the two roots of a quadratic function, or if you're given the two x-intercepts of a quadratic function, then you would want to use this last one. All right. So let's try to solve this question. Because the vertex is given, you should always go for the vertex form, because already you know the value of h and k. What's h and k? 1 and 2, right? Because we know that if y is a times x minus h plus h squared plus k, h comma k is the vertex. But we are given the vertex. What's the vertex? It's 1 and 2. So h must be 1 and k must be 2, right? Got it? Yeah. Now you have y equals to a times x minus 1 squared plus 2. And the only unknown is what? What's the only unknown at this? Huh? A is the only unknown. How would you figure this out? How would you find the a value? You use the only information that we haven't used, right? This is the information we have yet to use. What does y-intercept -3 mean to you? When x is what?
0.
X is 0, y would be? -3. That's exactly what it was. So what you want to do is plug in -3 into y, and a, you plug in 0 into x, and insist that this should hold. I don't know what the value of a is, but it better make this equation hold. Right? And then -1 squared is +1, so a plus 2 must be -3. So a must be, if you subtract 2 both sides, you get a equals to -5, right? So you get a equals to -5, and then plug that back in to the formula, and that's the answer. So the answer is that the function f of x must be -5 x minus 1 squared plus 2. Okay? Now let me show you a second form. question 2. Fx is again quadratic. And let's say the y-intercept is positive 3 and x-intercepts are negative 1 comma 0 and 2 comma 0. So let's think about that question. Now, you see that the two x-intercepts are given, right? So that's when we use this intercept form, which was y equals to mx minus a, x minus b. All right. Since the x-intercepts are negative 1 and 2, what should I put for a and b? You put negative 1 and 2. Right? So you have y equals to m times x minus negative 1, x minus 2. Let's simplify. Negative 1, negative is positive, so it's m times x plus 1, x minus 2. Now, to be fully convinced that you're on the right track, this is something that you should try. Plug in negative 1 into this function. What do you get? If you plug in negative 1 into x, what do you get?
0.
You get 0 because negative 1 plus 1 is 0, right? So indeed, this graph passes through negative 1 comma 0. Good? Same thing happens. If you plug in 2, 2 goes here, 2 minus 2 is 0. So it does pass through 2 comma 0. So this fully captures these two information. Therefore, the only thing that we didn't make use of is this. Right? So let's try that. So what does this mean again? Y-intercept being 3 means when x is 0, y is 3. So you plug those numbers in, it better work. Okay? So you have y equals to 3, m times 0 plus 1, 0 minus 2. Well, that's 1 times negative 2 times m, so it's negative 2m is 3. So that means m is negative 3 over 2. Once you have that, you plug it back into your form, and that's your function. F of x must be negative 3 over 2, x plus 1 times x minus 2. That's the answer.